everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be my monthly installment of Shop My Stash. So that is a series I do here on my channel where I go through my collection, pick out products to focus on just for the month, get my thoughts, my findings, report back to you, see if I still like them, if they have a place in my collection, or if I want to declutter them. And then I go and pull products for the next month. So if that sounds good to you, if you like Shop My Stash videos, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love it if you stuck around. But with all that, we're just gonna get started talking about the products that I've been using for the last month. All right, so let's just get started on the products. This is one of my just favorite series. I love being able to rotate through my collection. I also do a Project Pan series where I'm actually trying to finish stuff up. So this one just helps me make sure that I'm not hyper fixating on finishing products and also just giving love to my collection as a whole. So we're gonna go in order of application so I make sure I don't miss anything. Starting with primer, I pulled in the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer plus 4% niacinamide. I just have a little mini here. I believe I purchased this when I was buying the blue color corrector, and I wanted to get a mini before buying a full size to see if I actually liked it. This product's been around for a while, but I never tried it. So I wanted to give it a shot, see if I liked it. And you know, quite honestly, it is a dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip. I've tried that primer as well, and I find them pretty comparable. I don't know the difference between the 4% niacinamide and just the original, but I can say that it did a great job really adhering my makeup. I think that I do prefer a more gripping primer in summer versus a pore blurring primer, because typically I do just like a pore blurring primer, but I found myself reaching for this more than my pore blurring primers in my collection. So that tells me that I quite like it. And I used a decent amount. I mean, this is only half a fluid ounce, but for the 1 month, I feel like I gave it some love, and I'm happy to have this. I might even repurchase this in the future once I finish it up. So that was the primer. And then for foundation, I had 2. So I usually pull 3 foundations, and I'm trying to not pull as many because they just weren't getting the attention they needed. I do a lot of foundation reviews. It is my favorite category. So between just reviewing, testing, getting my final thoughts on new foundations, plus Shop My Stash, it was too much. So I went from 3 to 2, and these were my 2. So the first one is the Chanel Le Beige. This is the Touch, what is this? The Complexion Touch. It's the second version of their Water Fresh Touch, where it has the pigment beads suspended. This has a little bit more coverage than the original one. The original one's definitely more of like a lighter coverage, and this is more of like a typical foundation once you actually get it on the skin. I pull this in because I remember not liking it upon initial first impressions when I did a video on it. I'll link that video up above, but I wasn't in love with it, and I liked it a lot more this last month. I think this product really shines in summertime, where it's a little bit more luminous, a little bit more glowy, gives you like that summer skin that you really want in a foundation. So good turnaround with this. I kind of was half expecting to want to declutter it, but I think that it has a place in my collection. And for like traveling and being by the beach, I actually reached for this more than I thought I would. The second one was the Covergirl and Olay Simply Ageless. I have the shade 220, which is creamy natural. And in the Chanel, I usually have B30 is my Chanel shade across all the different formulas. So this is the one that I'm wearing today. Everything that I'm wearing is always listed in the description box. It's a little bit light for me. It might be okay right now with the lights, but it's definitely noticeable outside of natural daylight that it's a little bit light for me right now, which is why I didn't reach for it as much as I wanted to. But this is a really nice drugstore foundation. I mean, this is not new whatsoever, and people still talk about how nice of a foundation this is. It just is really hydrating without being glowy and giving you like that really almost sweaty look. It just makes your skin look healthy and nourished. So that's what I really enjoy about this. I, would really love to finish it up. I can't say like I've made decent progress. Like you can kind of just see where the pump ends here, but you know, I've made some progress. Like I have used this, and I have a lot of foundations in my collection, so any use on one is always really nice to see, even if it's just a little bit of use. Now for concealer, I pulled the BareMinerals Complexion Rescue Brightening Concealer. This is in the shade Fair Vanilla. Again, wearing this today. The only thing I just don't like about this concealer is the applicator. I've never come across an applicator like this. If it was just even like a pinpoint, like the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eyes, that would be better. But this just doesn't give you enough control. It gives a good finish though, and that's where I'm like struggling with this. I think that they are getting rid of this concealer because when I looked it up on Ulta, it was on sale and they didn't have all the shades. So I think that they're getting rid of this, which is a shame because I guarantee it's only because of the packaging, not because of the actual formula. The Complexion Rescue line from BareMinerals is fantastic. I love the tinted moisturizer. I have that and I've gone through probably half my bottle. So I really enjoy this line. I just wish the applicator was a little bit easier to use, and because of that, I don't reach for it as much. It gives, again, like a very hydrating under eye, but after using the powder, it really kind of just sets it down. It doesn't move. If you have a lot of like creases under your eyes, mature eyes, I think you would really, really like that concealer a lot. It's just kind of a pain. Now, the powder that I have is my Pat McGrath Labs, what is this called? The Blurring Under Eye Powder. I have the shade medium. I should have gotten light. I don't know why I got medium. I don't know who I think I am. Right now in summertime, it's fine, but any other time during the rest of the year, if I'm using this as an under eye setting powder, it's a little bit too dark. So I kind of just have to be careful, like make sure I'm using a concealer that's too light for me, or, you know, like I just have to be careful. So other than that, this is a really nice powder. I pulled this in because I really love this powder and I wanted to give it more love. The only con I can say is it has a lot of kick up in the pan. It's very powdery, but it's super finely milled. It actually blurs the skin. I remember doing a first impression on this and I didn't really love it in the first impression until I was editing the footage and I could actually see it blurring on camera. And I've never seen that before back then and in the future, like a product really just blurring in front of my eyes. It was really cool to see, and since then I've loved this powder. This might be the next one that I pull into my project pan to finish up because I really like it. I'm just a little worried about how fragile it is based on the kick up, and traveling with it makes me a little bit worried. And then that brings us to complexion products. So I pulled in some powder as well as some creams. For my powders, I went with a face powder. This was a limited edition Bobbi Brown palette, which is unfortunate because it is fantastic. This is the Sculpt and Glow palette, and I have the shade medium. So here's what it looks like. It just has a bronzer, a blush, and a highlight. I am wearing this today. I opted to get medium over light because the light version had the pink highlighter and I already owned that. I did not own, I think this is the like gold highlight. So I didn't want to have duplicates and I figured I could still work with this, which I can. This bronzer can get a little bit dark for me for my skin tone in the winter time, but right now it's fine. I love this like orangey blush here. It's not too much on my cheeks. It doesn't give like overly pigment. These are baked products. So it's just really, really beautiful on the skin. Really love Bobbi Brown's Complexion products. I think they do a really nice job. Their eyeshadows as well. As long as it's like this baked formula, it's really good. For me, it's worth the price point, and I'm happy to have a face palette like this. Sometimes with face palettes, I find I don't reach for them, but when it's a trio, this is the perfect kind of face palette that I want. I just want one bronzer, one blush, one highlight. I can just bring this with me and be done. So really enjoyed that. Glad I got some use out of it. My face palettes do get a little bit neglected, so I wanted to make sure I was pulling that instead of some singles this round. For cream, I had some unopened products. There's just like a bunch of things I still have kind of in my drawer of shame, so I wanted to get some use out of those. The first one being this Stila. This is the Tinted Moisturizer Skin Balm. I have the shade 6. So this is actually supposed to be a balm foundation, but I bought this because Tati used it as a bronzer, and back then I was a huge Tati fan, so I had to buy it and use it as a bronzer. Here's what it's looking like. It actually looks really nice as a bronzer. I will have to agree that I did really enjoy this product. I'm a little bit smarter, a little bit wiser now. I don't really fall for the super big hype from the big influencers on everything. There was a time when I was a sucker, let me tell you, but I'm getting better. And, you know, at least this one was worth it, because there have been some where I'm like, why was this person so obsessed with this? And at least this one, I'm happy to say, was a really nice one. I used it for underpainting today, and it is really nice. I will give it to her. I actually was surprised at how much I liked it. Another just Tati made me buy it is the Honest Beauty Cream Blush. This is in the shade Rose Pink, and it was unused in my collection. Here's what it's looking like now. So you're not going to see too much use on it because I've only used this, you know, the handful of times this past month. But really nice product. Again, like really surprised. I don't know why I just never pulled this out and kind of just kept it in its box. But it's a very thick cream blush, especially compared to like today's formulas. It's interesting though, because even though it's thick, it's very sheer on the cheeks. I was expecting a little bit more pigment. I don't know if everyone would love this now, especially with blush just being the really big trend right now. We're now talking about blush blindness. People are going so overboard with blush. So if you like a more toned down blush, I still did use this to underpaint, and then I used the Bobbi brown on top. This is really nice. Like if you like subtle minimalistic makeup, this is really beautiful. I like the consistency of it. I like cream blushes that are less of a liquid and more of like a firm cream. Then for highlight, I have the Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wand in Spotlight. Gonna be honest, I didn't use this once this past month. I just really don't like a cream highlight, and specifically, I don't like a liquid highlight. So while this is a really nice highlight, let me swatch it. It's very blinding. I don't know, I have just a hard time reaching for it. Swatch these other things for you too while I talk. Yeah, it's just hard to control the product. It's not bad. Like I do like the effect that it has once it's on my skin. I just don't like all the extra steps I have to do to get it on my face. So that's why like I didn't use it. I am gonna put it back, I think, only because I'm traveling. If I was still staying home, I would probably reconsider that. But because I'm going to be away, I don't want to bring a product that I'm not sure I'm going to fully get use on. That just seems like a waste in my suitcase. So I'm going to put it back, and then eventually, like maybe that's one I need to pull into my project pan in order to really try and use up. Let me show you the swatches though, since I swatched that highlight. Here is the Honest Beauty cream blush, the Stila bronzer, and then this is the Bobbi Brown trio. So the bronzer, the blush, and the highlight. The bronzer, surprisingly, like is buildable. It just depends on the kind of brush that you're using on how much you're gonna really pick up. We have eyes and lips left. So for eyeshadow palettes, I pulled 3. We'll talk about the one that's on my eyes last. The first one that I picked up was an indie brand, so the What's Up Beauty Geodes palette. I have talked about What's Up Beauty extensively on my channel. I love all of the palettes that they come out with. You know, I would actually say that Geodes is my least favorite of the 3 of the Monsoon, Desert Monsoon, and then the Dragon Eye and this one. But this is still beautiful, still love it. That doesn't mean I don't like it. It's just if I had to rank them, this would be 3rd. I have special just attachment to What's Up Beauty because they started off as a nail polish company, and they actually had their first brick and mortar store in the mall that I worked at for over 10 years. So I used to walk over to their store and go check out their nail polish all the time. So I don't know, that might make me a little bit more biased towards the brand, but I will say their formula is really, really nice as well. I'm glad I got to just kind of play around with that. And then I thought what would go really well with that was the Sigma New Mod. I love this palette. I don't pull it out nearly enough. So I thought this would be the time, and it would go with the What's Up Beauty palette. So here's what this one looks like. You can see like some wear starting to form in there. I'm a very light-handed person when it comes to makeup, and I like keeping things clean. So it's hard to see, you know, like it being dirtied up. I try hard not to do that specifically. So also just a really nice palette, a little bit darker, more romantic tones than the What's Up Beauty, but clearly I have a type, and I really love Sigma's formula. It took me a while to even try Sigma, and then once I have, like, I understand the hype, because I kind of thought Sigma was just like a brand that people only talked about because they were so affiliated with them. But I have to say, like, I really enjoy their palettes. I only have this one and the Ambiance palette, but both of them are really nice. And I'm, you know, on the fence about the cool neutrals. I like it, but also, like, I don't know if I need it. So if you have that palette, let me know. That's what I'm on the fence about. But all the palettes I've tried from them, I've loved. And then the last palette that I have was one that was unused, and it needed to be used. It was time. So I'm wearing it on my eyes today. It is the Natasha Denona Coral palette. Like, do they even make this? Why was this sitting in its box in my drawers? I don't know. Here's what it looks like. And let me tell you, when I was trying to do my look, I was actually a little bit nervous, like, what am I gonna do? Because this looks like a simple color story, but also, I was like a little bit nervous to use this. I don't know why, like a little bit scared. I actually really enjoy the look that I came up with. It's not anything revolutionary by any means, but I just put this matte in the crease. I deepened it up with this outer corner. Same thing with the shimmers. I put this all over the lid, a teeny tiny bit of this on the outer corner. This was the shade that kind of just threw me off, but I just ended up kind of sticking it all over my lid. It's kind of like a topper shade, and it ended up looking really pretty. It kind of just gave a little bit more of like a wet effect to the eye versus this shimmer here, which in the pan doesn't look like much, but I liked it on my eye a lot. Now, Natasha Denona used to have really thick shimmers back in the day before she's kind of just like perfected her formula. So this is one of those just thicker shimmers, but I will say it looks really nice on the eyes. So I'm happy that I finally faced my fears and tried out this palette. There's not too many other Natasha Denonas that I have like in my drawer of shame so far. So I'm finally just getting through all of those. Now, last but not least, I have lip products. We'll start with the one that I'm wearing, kind of go in reverse. So the first one that I have is this Peri Para. This is the Ink Mood. It's always hard to find the names of these freaking lipsticks on K-Beauty. So this is in the shade 5, and it's a really nice color. I bought this when I purchased the Peri Para Hip Gray. They came out with these lipsticks at the same time. It's the perfect kind of lip product that I personally love. It's like glowy. It feels like a lip balm, but it has color to it. It stays. I have no bad things to say about it. I would love to pick up more colors, but I'm really kind of putting myself on a lipstick no buy. So this is one I'd love to pick up more shades, but I will not. Next one I have is the Clinique. This is part of their Pop collection, and this is the shade 02 Bare Pop. Kind of just like a nude. I try to pick like different formulas, and this is more of just a traditional lipstick, and also just a really nice formula. It's very comfortable on the lips. I don't have lip filler, so I do have to be a little bit more mindful on lip products, because I just find like when you have lip filler, your lips are a little bit more forgiving because you have less line on your lips. I do not. So like sometimes lines are enhanced depending on the lip product. This does not enhance any of my lip lines, look thick, anything like that. It's very similar, but a little bit more satin. So really enjoy this one as well. I like all of these actually. My next one is the Lawless Forget the Filler in Daisy. I picked up a little trio for holiday, and this is my last one. I finished the other 3. And it's kind of just like a sheer color, but it does have like some pink to it. I was just trying to get through this a little bit more. I love this formula. Once I finish this one, I've decided I'm allowing myself to purchase a full size since I finished 3 of them. I think that that's, for me, justifiable. So trying to get through this. I don't love this shade specifically. I had the clear and velvet. I like those a lot more, but it is nice. I use it. It stays on really well. I find it to be hydrating. I find it to be just like a smidge plumping, and I notice a difference when I use it consistently. So very happy with that formula. And then the last thing that I have is this Romand. This is the Blur Fudge Tint, and I believe, let's see, this is the shade. It's not going to tell me, is it? It's on here. Jubilee, Coral Jubilee. So I wanted to push myself and try to use like a more non-nude color. This isn't like a pure red. It's definitely more kind of like a coral. That's why it's called Coral Jubilee. Has a little bit more orange to it. I've only worn this once or twice, but I cannot tell you how much I love this formula. I have 3 shades of this. And it's just fantastic. The formula stays. It's not super pigmented on the lips. It gives you just enough color. It doesn't enhance those lines like I was saying. It does look a little bit more matte, but it gives you like that K-Beauty popsicle look, and I just love it. This formula is one of my favorites. Like if I could just live off of this and these, I would be completely fine. Like I could get rid of all my Pat McGrath, all my Lisa Eldridge, all of my Dior lipsticks, all of them. Like give me these 2 in every shade and I would be super happy. But that is all the products that I've been using for the last month here. I'm going to be honest with you, because I'm traveling, my makeup setup's not the same. Usually you see it behind me if you've watched any of my Shop My Stash videos, so it's easy for me to turn around. Right now I am back home. I'm staying inside my mom's house though. Normally I was like renting an apartment that she has on her property, but that's being rented out from Airbnb with other people. So I'm just, you know, hanging out at my mom's right now, and I put all my things up in her attic. So I have to figure out how I'm going to film this. I have no idea just yet. I kind of just decided to film this portion first, and I'm going to go figure out how to pick out new products. So bear with me. It might not be the best, but I really want to try and keep it the same style where I'm opening the drawers, etc., not just showing you what I'm going to use, because I think that's not as much fun. So hopefully this next half of the video is decent. If not, like, please bear with me. It'll get better soon. Thank you. Okay, I am pretty happy with the setup I was able to figure out. Now, I will be traveling like I have been for the next month, so I don't want to pull too much. I'm going to really try and hold myself back from pulling a ton of products. So I'm thinking for the next month, something I can just use very easily. That's not terrible. Maybe this Winky Lux. This is the Whipped Cream Primer. It's very similar to the Tarte Smoothing Primer, but this is a lighter container, honestly, than the Tarte, which I also have. This is glass. This is plastic. So maybe I can get some love on this, use it up. It's not something I'd repurchase, but I do want to at least use it, get it out of my collection. Now for primer, I have my Project Pan primer, so again, I'm just going to pull one. I normally do anyways. And I want it to be different from my Project Pan. I think I'm going to pull the Milani Conceal and Perfect. I like this primer, this concealer. I like this concealer a lot. and it doesn't get a lot of love from me because I'm usually prioritizing like more of my high-end concealers. And this is a really nice one. It just works with everything. This is the perfect concealer. Foundation is the one that keeps me up at night. I'm gonna be honest, thinking about which one I want to bring with me because I only want to bring one. I really don't want to bring too much foundation. Last time I was at the dog rescue, I didn't really wear that much foundation, so I don't want to have 3 or 4 and just not use them. And I'm trying to get through all the ones that I haven't like rotated, which is this drawer. So I do think I want like a lighter coverage because the one in my project pan is a little bit heavier. So I think I'm gonna go with, what's the Fenty? I think I'm gonna go with my tried and true. This is the Beauty Blender Bounce Skin Tint. This is probably the lightest coverage one that's in here. And I know that I love this foundation. So I think this is the one that I'm gonna stick with. If it changes, I still have a couple days before I go. I will put a note at the bottom of the screen and just put the one that I actually ended up choosing. But I think this is a good choice. It's reliable. I like it. So that, I think I'm happy with this choice. I'm happy with it. Moving on to powder. Since I have the Beauty Blender, I kind of want like an all over face powder. I don't want an under eye powder. And again, I only want to bring one, and I want to bring one that I know is going to work really well for me. And I kind of want one with color. Maybe I should do like the Age Perfect. Will this fit me in summertime, or is it going to be too light? Might be. Kind of light. I don't know, I kind of like that one. I don't love that. I think a pressed powder is going to be easier than a loose powder. This one I like less. Like this I like putting on top of foundation, but I can't wear it by itself like this one. This one I could kind of get away with wearing on its own. I think I'm going to pull this one in. It's been a minute. It's been a minute, so this will be a good choice. Complexion products, I've been giving a lot of thought on what I want to bring. I'm going to pull in another face palette this month, and it is going to finally be this Ofra Life's a Draft, the collaboration with Samantha March. I have never opened it. It's still sealed, and with this one, let me show you the method to my madness here. If I can open it. Of course, I broke this nail. This is the only one without a long, beautiful nail on it. So it's a little bit tough. But this has a bronzer, blush, and highlight. Plus it has some eyeshadows. So because of this, I am not going to bring a bronzer, blush, or highlight. Just keep these and the ones in my project pan, and then I'll only pull in one other eyeshadow, probably a neutral. So I'm gonna bring this palette. I'm a little bit worried since I've never used it, and this blush looks very glowy, but that's okay. We'll make it work. I always have my project pan blush if I need to. So this is gonna be my face palette. I'm going to skip bronzer, blush, and highlight, powder, and cream. And we're going to go directly to lipstick. Okay, for lipstick, I'm going to pull ones that I know that I love, that I'll get use out of. Normally I try to push myself, but there's just no point in doing that because I'm not going to wear this at a dog rescue. I just know that I won't. So this might not be the most exciting pull. But let's see, which ones do I know and love? I actually really enjoy this. This is the Clinique in, what is this? Sugar Plum Pop. Very similar to the nude pop that I had, but this is a mini. And it's just like a nice kind of berry tone. So I'll pull this one. I'll still pull 4. I like this a lot. The Blotted Lip from ColourPop and Melty, right? Yep. Even though this looks dark, it's really nice on the lips, and this is like a really comfortable formula. So I'll grab this one. I need 2 more. Part of me is wondering if I should pull in this Flower Beauty because I hate the packaging when it's on my desk, and since it's just going to be in a makeup bag, maybe this is the time. I mean, I've used like a little bit of it. I feel like there's at least some use you can see. This is in Sheer Snapdragon. Again, like glowy lipstick. I have a type. So let me take this, and then just for some variety, I will bring one of my Fudge Blur tints. Maybe this one. Let's just swatch them out and see. This one's definitely like a little bit more red. And this one's more, I think this one's called Mauvish, more mauve. And then this one I think is Pomelo. I want to say it's like Pomelo or something like that. I'm kind of leaning towards this one because I would probably put a lip on top, and if I can really sheer it out and not have it look so just like really orange. It's like a very wearable kind of coral dark orange shade. So yeah, I think this will be my 4th one. Now, normally I take you through my drawers for eyeshadow, but I already know which one I'm gonna pull. I'm just gonna pull one. So I'm gonna show you a little wrap up of everything that I pulled and show you the eyeshadow at the same time. All right, so these are all the products that I have for this next month. I am very, very happy with this selection. It seems very small. This is the palette that I'm choosing to bring with me on my trip. the Tartelette in Bloom. I just think this will be the perfect palette. It has cool tones, neutral tones, and warm tones in here. Just everyday shades, and I need to give this palette more love. It's one of my very first palettes. I love it so much. Plus I'll have the purple tones in here if I want something, and I still have the shadows from my Project 10 uses. So I think I have enough variety here. As far as like foundation, concealer, again, I'll have my Project Pan items, so I'm not too worried about variety. And yeah, I feel like I didn't go overboard. It's really nice looking at this. This will all fit in a small little bag. I won't need to bring a giant makeup bag with me, which feels really, really good. Anyways, thank you for sticking with me through this kind of just not normal Shop My Stash. I appreciate all of you. This is where I'm going to leave you all. I hope you're having a great one, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.